Any questions? There's a hole in one side. We can get out. Let's actually switch our perspective here. Be easier for us to see how cool this maze is. And it works. We can make it bigger. 40 by 50. Draw me a maze. There's my big maze. 40 by 50. So this should be your goal. Use some algorithm to automatically generate a maze like this. Any questions? I have not watched the stream in a while. Hopefully those other people are watching in the stream and say, oh, what's going on? I don't know. Well, yeah, the stream is empty for the chat. So sad. But any questions from you? Oops. Did that make sense? Not terribly different than Java. Just small, subtle things of how do I get these things to work in Unity. Okay, let's make this more interesting. Now, the next step. We want to wander around this maze with character control. So, I have to do a few more things. I want to use just the standard character controller. So let's import assets. Whoa, that's not what I want to do. Import package character controller. Do I really want everything? Okay, makes my package huge, but we're good. Bring in that character controller. Okay, standard assets, character controller, first person controller. Let's make a first person wander around. Let's put them at spot 0, 0, 0. We need a floor. We always need a floor. We have wonderful walls that we fall through. Game object. Let's make some light so we can see what we're missing. Directional light from the sky. There it was. My awesome maze. Okay, so I need a floor. Let's put this together. And we want this floor to resize itself as we do the game manager. As we make size X and size Z, we've got to make a floor underneath it all. So if somebody changes this number to a 20 or a 10 or 200, our floor has to get bigger or smaller. Let's make that happen. Okay, so public game object floor. What did I do with the floor? Yes, here we go. So make the walls, make the interior walls, make the floor. Make floor. And write me a new method. Void make floor. Just so we know what we're working with, let's put a plane. Call it floor. Drag it over here to the floor. So I have a plane, and how big are planes when we add them in? The scale here says 111, but it's bigger than we're used to. Planes are actually 10 by 10. So we've got to use that in our math calculations. If this is our floor, then I need to put it in the right places. let's instantiate our floor at a certain location. New vector 3, size x divided by 2, 0, size z divided by 2. I want it to be centered. Quaternion identity will work for me. And instantiate returns an object. I need to cast this as a game object. Because instantiate lets me say, here's where you are, here's your rotation, but it doesn't talk about the scale. So I just want to scale it up later. Here's how I would do that. F. You have a transform. Your transform has a local scale, and I'm going to add stuff to you. Here we go. Size x divided by 10, 0, size z divided by 10. See if that works for me. Compiler errors. Never closed my method. Perfect. Compiler errors. Vector 2. I hit tab too quickly. It automatically put in vector 2 instead of vector 3. Mono develop can be helpful, can be annoying. There we go. We fell through the floor still, but it looks like it made a floor. That was big, which is what we wanted to. Let's talk about ourselves. If we're at position 0, we're halfway through the floor when we start. So we've got to get taller for our character controller. Oh, let's save our scene. This is good. If you don't save your scene, you've lost hours of work. I'm sure you're laughing now because you've all done that. Yes. Okay. So here's our character controller. Wandering around, can look inside our maze now.
Does it default to WASD?
Yes. This is a little cramped. I can hardly see what's going on. So let's go through the process of making this maze bigger. What can I do to make this maze wider so I can actually walk around it? Make the walls bigger. So let's go to my project here, wall cube, 1. Let's make it 2. Walls are wider, but that just looks horrible. Because I'm still putting them at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 along the way. Not good. So let's scale everything. Somebody gives us a scale. I can say now that the walls are size 2, I could go to the walls and ask them how big they are. I'm going to pass that step just in the interest of time. That's how you really want to do it. But for right now, I'm going to say make this twice as big as usual, which means I have to go add the word scale to a lot of places in my code. So make floor, multiply this stuff times scale. Multiply this stuff times scale. Because all of this stuff is based on make wall is the place I have to go add the scale. So where did I do that in make wall? Let's scale up my my increment. So now it would go like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 instead of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what other part do I want? Yeah, because I've got to do it over this whole thing. Same thing here. Scale times this whole thing. And that should do it for me. Scale. Everything is twice as big. And I fit. I can actually navigate this maze now and run around to try to solve it. Gets a little crazy as you start to move around. This is because we're just using that standard character controller. Character controller has this sensitivity. Let's make it a little bit less sensitive so that my mouse doesn't go crazy while I go back and forth. Great. So, running around. We've got our maze going with our character. So that's the second step. You get a maze generated, add a floor, add a character controller. You're in a spot where you want to solve that maze. You can see, I think we're right about here. There is some wall somewhere to get out of this enormous maze. That makes sense so far. Let's add some more stuff to our script. We've got time. Okay, I want to give my person a spotlight so they can wander around the maze, and I can actually turn off the lights, and they can. It's like a horror maze is what I want to do. So let's add a light. Let's add a spotlight here. Again, let's reset it to 0, 0, 0. It's so convenient to have it there because then when I drop it underneath an object, it is relative to that object. So I have a spotlight. But I need it oriented in the right way. It is pointing up. I really need it to be pointing forward. You can see it right there on the floor, just barely. There's a little light over there. Let's turn off our big light. We can just keep it in there but turn it off, clicking that button. We have a light. Well, the light was at 0, 0. It's under the floor, basically. So, take that spotlight. Why did it get to -4? I have no idea. Let's put that light further up. Here we go. Now we've got a light. Doesn't change direction with us up and down, but it does move side to side as we go. And we can creepily wander around this maze. Okay, I want to be able to turn that light on and off. How can we do that? Let's use a key script. Let's attach a script to this light. I'm going to make a new script. Spotlight script. Open it up. Again, empty. But instead of the start, I need to do something in the update. Every instant that this game is run, let's check for something. So here's what we're